You can't tell me that. Somebody
50
grew up
years,
in the hood.
hip-hop ain't done shit concretely beneficial to the black community.
That's
gave me
incorrect.
fashion. The
That's
first thing
incorrect.
out of your mouth was fashion.
I gave you fashion, and you started yelling over me.
What else?
But then also, then there's technological advancement. Podcasting, for example.
Hey, that's me.
Look at all the black people that now have access to jobs and ways to make money. Do that.
I ain't gonna lie, I do like this job.
Talking about rap. We're still talking about cinema. We're still talking about these camera operators, these new people.
Hey, this man spitting.
Real concrete for you.
I just made it concrete.
No, it wasn't. That was all bullshit.
No,
give
what
me a
you're about
relevant.
Oh, once again, Analytic Dreamz video on Spotify to see the video along with the audio for my podcast listeners, because of course, right now we're watching the one and only. I mean, just showmanship at its highest level when it comes to the great Dr. Umar as far as his take on hip hop.
Give me a relevant institution that hip-hop built in any community, anywhere in America in 50 fucking years.
I just told you.
No, you didn't.
I told you.
And got him cursing.
Concrete people that would not have access.
I didn't say
You're gonna cut me off again.
individuals. I said
You're gonna
an
cut me off again.
institution.
I said people.
Where's the bank of hip-hop for the black community?
The definition of the word people means not an individual. So I'm telling you, people that now of 50 years ago would not have had access to work.
You're dealing in individualism. I asked you, what did they do for the community? You can't give me nothing because they ain't done shit
People
for
from
the
the community can now work in a music industry that there was never going to be a space for them.
What the fuck? That's individualism. That ain't helping us.
Okay, so I have to fact check a little bit, because technically an institution is a large company or other organization involved in financial trading. And then, of course, it's also a society or organization founded for religious, educational, social, or similar purposes. So when it comes to more than one person collectively coming together for a common goal and receiving financial gain, that would technically be considered an institution. So whenever you're getting into Dr. Umar Johnson, I may add, as far as his criticism of hip hop and it failing the black community for the simple fact that it's done nothing in the past 50 years to build actual or hasn't had or created any institutional impact that's substantial. So when he's going at hip hop artists like this, of course I had to jump into the fray, because not my hip hop's going to be discredited like this. Because let me tell you something. One of the greatest that's disrespectful. The greatest rapper to ever live, which is also one of the greatest philanthropists that we ever had in the hip hop genre, Jay-Z, has a whole company titled Rock Nation that is literally a full service entertainment company that includes record label, talent agency, sports management. It has a sports management division, and those employ a plethora of black people. In every sense of the word, these different icons in the hip hop game have built institutions that have had huge impact on culture and black business. So to say it's not an institution, to say it's not something that's substantial, and hip hop hasn't done anything in the past 50 years simply for the fact that Dr. Johnson has been building a school for the past 50 years, past 100 years, and it still hasn't, it's nowhere to be found. Like, every time you ask them, it's a new update. But, oh yeah, we fixing the pipes. Like, all right, right now we fixing the toilets. You know, actually, the tiles on the floor, they were starting to crack a little bit, so we got to get them completely redone. Like, it's always something with the school that he's supposedly building, and he always uses that fact to say that when it comes to other black popular people in the public grand scheme of things, they're not doing enough when it comes to building these type of substantial institutions. But going off of his word, institution, Rock Nation, Beats by Dre, Def Jam Recordings, Bad Boy, Good Music, Mass Appeal, No Limit, all of these different conglomerates built by black figureheads, whether it's a Jay-Z, Dr. Dre, Russell Simmons, Master P, things of that nature. These are all, by definition, institutions that have lasted the test of time and have had so much impact on culture and other things when it comes to the masses. But if you really want to focus on schools, hospitals, and community-focused projects, which is what he basically switched the conversation to, which is very interesting the way he switched the conversation and moved the goalposts throughout this entire argument. I think this is one of the few times I've seen Dr. Umar just look completely out of his realm as far as what he was talking about. Because if you're talking about Dr. Dre and Jimmy Levine donating $70 million to the University of Southern California to literally create the USC Jimmy Levine and Andre Young Academy for Arts, Technological, and Business of Arts, Technology, and Business of Innovation. That's playing off of what Dr. Umar tried to shift the conversation towards. When we're talking about J. Cole founding the Dreamville Foundation, which has supported various educational initiatives and community projects as far as his hometown in Fayetteville, North Carolina. Whether it's Chance the Rapper, as much stuff people give Chance the Rapper, he still is out here contributing millions to his hometown, more specifically Chicago public schools, and launching the New Chance Arts and Literature Fund to support arts education in Chicago. And then, once again, bringing up the great Queen Latifah that I brought up earlier when I was talking about, actually I haven't even touched on Queen Latifah yet because I was saving her for last. But basically, not only did Queen Latifah have Flavor Unit Entertainment as far as a production company that produced films and television shows, which is technically an institution, but if you wanted to just focus on schools and hospitals and other community-focused institutions, which is what he switched the conversation towards, she has been involved as far as Queen Latifah in various community projects under the Queen Latifah Foundation, and has supported a lot of educational programs and health initiatives that it just goes under the radar for the simple fact people don't want to highlight it. Because if you really get into the specifics of educational support, health initiatives, community development, art and culture, it's a lot that Queen Latifah has been an advocate of to change the overall trajectory of the black community. So when Dr. Umar, which is funny because he has the doctor in front of his name, but it's, as far as this specific topic, seems like he's a little out of his realm as far as what he's specifically speaking on. Because if you're going to get into a heated debate, then you best have it's best to have certain facts to go along with what you're saying. Because if you're saying institution and the guy who's debating with you brought up many institutions, which is playing off of what you brought up, and then you switch it to he's just talking about individualism, now it just seems like you're moving the goalpost. And it's definitely important to point out that Dr. Umar was reiterating his past beliefs that he's had for quite some time about hip hop. I mean, just go back to November 25th, 2023, when he was talking about the celebration of hip hop as far as it being 50 years in existence as far as the genre.
Has hip hop benefited the black community overall? Has this been a plus or has this been a minus? Now let's go to the institutions. Hip hop is the most influential musical form in the world right now. 50 years, it is a multi-billion-dollar industry, of course, dominated by European Jews. But yet and still, many of these artists are very wealthy. Not a single institution has come from hip hop in 50 years. Am I supposed to ignore that? Am I supposed to act like these young brothers out here who pushing death and destruction, sexual exploitation and miscegenation of black women, these young brothers who out here pushing drug selling, going to jail, and everything possibly illegal to children, I'm supposed to believe that this was a blessing to the black community when you brainwashing our kids, and on top of the brainwash, on top of the toxic content, you don't even come back to the community and do anything good for it except give out some damn turkeys and sneakers. Are you kidding me?
So as you see, and as you just heard, Dr. Umar has had these talking points for quite some time now. So as far as talking about hip hop not building any substantial institutional projects, it's been a talking point for him for quite some time. And I just believe that Dr. Umar making most of his fan base and garnering most of his fan base off of the enjoyers of hip hop is why he has these type of strong hip hop opinions when it comes to his disappointment in the higher ups as far as the Jay-Z, a Master P, things of that nature. And then also, hip hop has existed for only 50 years. I mean, that is not the longest as far as a music genre, you know, and it's already generated billions of dollars in revenue. Like, think about it. Hip hop, some people on this earth is older than the genre of hip hop. Not to call y'all old, I'm just saying. Some people on this earth is older than the genre of hip hop. That is, one, due to slavery. I mean, y'all know how that, I mean, some people act like they don't even know how it went because they act like it happened so long ago that we should just forget it. But yeah, so slavery wasn't that long ago. So whenever we did have freedom and, you know, the ability to make generational wealth that, you know, other people had a head start on. But, you know, that's a whole nother discussion. Basically, hip hop was created. And recently hip hop was created because it's only existed for over 50 years. We literally just celebrated the 50th year of the genre called hip hop. So with that being said, you have to give a little leeway to the creators of just the genre as a whole, but doesn't mean that you can just completely negate all of the influential figures that we've had in hip hop, as far as Jay-Z, as far as a Kanye, a Dr. Dre, a Russell Simmons, a Queen Latifah, a Nas, a Master P, a Sean Diddy Combs. I mean, these people have built institutions to where black people will have jobs available for them in a market that did not give jobs to black people in the first place. So whenever you create market value for black people, you are effectively building an institution where our people can earn a living higher than what we previously thought was even possible. So Dr. Umar just focusing on the schools and the hospitals and things of that nature. Just, I mean, the next interview that he even brings up this age-old talking point. I mean, somebody just has to tell him, when is your school going to open? That's all I want to know. Every single time Dr. Umar brings up his school, it's always something. It's always the pipes, the toilets, the tiles, the little cracks. So we got to go over that. Wires hanging out the ceiling. So now we got to patch that. And that's going to take another 2 years. Like, at this point, my brother, just tell people that you scamming them. I mean, at some point, somebody got to say it. I mean, all these donations for a school that hasn't existed and he's been building it for the past 10 to 15 years. So, and that's a little exaggeration. I don't know how long he's been building it. Actually, let me look it up right now. How long has he been building his school? Because it's been a while. We still to this day don't know when this is going to open, right? So, oh my Lord, he been working on this school since 2014, y'all.
I know that ain't who I think it is.
Dr. Umar Johnson has been working on establishing the Frederick Douglass Marcus Garvey Academy since 2014.
I know that ain't who I think it is.
Do y'all know what Jay-Z has done in the past 10 years? Do y'all know what P. Diddy has done in the past 10 years? Do y'all want to know what Queen Latifah, emphasis on Queen Latifah, has done in the past 10 years? Dr. Umar's criticism has to be checked at some point when it comes to talking about our icons in the hip-hop community, because of them also impacting the black community on such a grand scale that is not even fathomable to Dr. Umar Johnson. I don't know. At some point, somebody got to bring that up. Like, he just keeps reiterating these same talking points and always talks about his school that's coming, but still hasn't been built yet. I mean, goodness, even Kanye made a school in like overnight. It was what seemed like overnight. LeBron James, he has a school with the I forget what it's called, like the Promise Academy or something like that. Like, it can't be that hard to open up a school as far as like what he is saying he's an expert over. It can't be that hard for him to open up a school. So yeah, that's basically it, man. Hopefully one day Dr. Umar stops giving disproportionate negative energy to the hip hop genre, and hopefully at some point he actually does, which is surprising for somebody with a doctorate. But what do you see a doctor of? That's another thing I have to look up. Like, these false titles gotta go, man. So anyways, hopefully at some point he actually does some research into hip hop and actually finds out about our icons that actually impacts the black community on a grand scale that he's just completely ignoring and being completely ignorant towards. But in the meantime, click my link tree in my bio. Let me know on one of my social medias. What do you think about Dr. Umar Johnson just being completely oblivious to the contributions of hip hop's icons? And what do you think about the whole debate between Dr. Umar and the well, what do you think about his criticism when it comes to the hip hop genre?